Good morning, everyone. Every morning I take an hour and I do some thinking. I listen to some Bible verses. I listen to some podcasts. And there was an interesting one today. The podcast were with a neurosurgeon and another doctor. And I'm afraid I don't know the other doctor's name. Or the neurosurgeon. I could look it up. Anyhow, the podcast was on prayer and how does it affect the brain. The neurosurgeon was really interesting. Some of the stuff he talked about was what do we feed our brain? Or what do we feed our thoughts? They did some testing. I don't know all the technical terms, but they found that people who believed in prayer and who fed their thoughts with positivity rather than negativity, the tests that they ran showed, I wish I would have written it down, but I didn't, showed that the people who believed in prayer and fed their thoughts with positive and prayed for people who needed prayer, that their brains took on a healthier activity. It just makes sense, doesn't it? And I was thinking, in today's world, if we all prayed for each other, it would be a much more enlightened world. I've been through trauma in my life. I lost my son, and my husband died 2.5 years ago. And he was my rock. He was the one, my husband was the one who was just always there. He loved me when I was nice and good. He loved my ugly when it was like, yeah. Anyhow, I lost that support. And in this podcast, they were talking about people who go through trauma. There's a couple of ways you can go through it. You can let it take you down, or you can help others who's been through it. And the people who chose to use their trauma or their loss, a lot of them, sorry, I'm walking my dog, she did a little pause. They turn out to be helpful to the ones who have gone through what they've gone through. I find myself in that position frequently, and sometimes it's hard. The one thing I did learn through the people I met or am friends with, a lot of them have experienced loss. My son died in a motor vehicle accident, so sudden. My husband had been diagnosed with cancer, and anybody who has been diagnosed with cancer, your stomach falls. And after the diagnosis came for my husband, I was devastated because I thought, we're going to have a life together. We've been through loss already, so surely this isn't happening to us. But it was. And it was real. And the end all was one that we expected, which doesn't make it any easier to experience. So at the age of 65, and I'll get back to how I'm handling it and what I'm doing. And so at the age of 65, his retirement year, he had an x-ray done because we thought he had bronchitis. And the doctor said, no, you don't have bronchitis. But you do have a solid mass in your kidney the size of a small baseball. And he said, we won't know until we do tests. But he looked at us, and we both knew that it was probably cancer. It was a solid mass. So we decided to find our way through it. And I'll talk about all the different experiences we had. Some of them good, some of them sad. But through all of this, my husband could make me laugh. He loved life. He didn't want to go. I'm trying not to get teary here. He was the kind of person that we would do things, and he would say to me, Sherry, only fear and common sense is holding us back, so let's just do it. And we did. My life is interesting. I have friends who have lost their husbands, and a lot of... I have learned never to say I know how you're feeling, because if you haven't lost a spouse or you haven't lost a child, then really you don't know how I'm feeling. So I don't say that to people anymore. I ask them if they want a hug. I ask permission. Because some days you're just merely holding it together. You can hear little kids playing in the background. They're chasing each other up and down the hill. It's so cute. So, back to this video. So this neurosurgeon that was in the video, he was saying he lost his son. His son was stabbed to death at a very young age. And through the years, from what I listened to, he said he learned to, I don't know if you learn to or if it just happens, he had to go back to work in a month. And so it was all a very good, not a good experience. He took it and did a different spin. Either it can take you down or it can build you up. And some days, quite honestly, I just get through the day. And so I hope through this video that a lot of you who have a tendency to listen to things that are not encouraging and your thoughts turn to dark places, that you make small little changes. And like I said earlier in some of my videos, I got up out of bed today. That was a very good thing. And I just did the next thing. Floor needed washing. Took me out of the mental thoughts, concentrating on the floor washing. Doing dishes. I go for a walk every day, at least 3 kilometers a day. So that helps. So back to the Neurosurgeon podcast. Anyhow, throughout the discussion that went on, and what spoke to me, and if I listened to it again, there would be other things that would speak to me, is that We were not promised a life of ease, a life of happiness. It does say in the Bible that we weren't promised a life where we wouldn't experience sadness, loss, grief. But it also says we will experience moments of great peace and great joy. And I do that now. I miss my husband and my son, but I also have a son and a granddaughter here on earth, so I have to be there for them. And the days that I'm down, they're very, very good. I never stay down for long. I've always been a pretty positive person. And I realize that through my losses, yes, they were losses, and the grief was, yes. But I also meet people along the way, and some of those people have become some of my best friends and ones that I can confide in. So I hope through this video that you have hope and that you experience joy and peace. And it's okay to be happy. If your loved one has passed or you've lost a child, you have to move forward. So you take care. Until my next video, may you all stay safe. Bye-bye for now.